Imagine for a moment that an entire life begins with something so small it cannot be seen by the naked eye. No bigger than a tiny speck, a newly fertilized egg starts a journey that will eventually create a beating heart, a functioning brain, tiny fingers, tiny toes, and a brand new human being. But here's the astonishing part. Long before a baby takes its first breath, another organ is built specifically to keep that baby alive. An organ so remarkable that it exists for only one purpose: to nourish, protect, and support life inside the womb. It's called the placenta. And without it, human life simply could not develop. Today we're following one of nature's most extraordinary stories, from the moment of conception all the way to labor and delivery. And trust me, the most incredible chapter happens near the very end. Before we begin, I'd love to know your age and where you're watching from today. Leave a comment below. It's always wonderful seeing viewers from around the world joining these conversations about the human body and the miracle of life. The story begins shortly after fertilization. As the newly formed embryo travels through the fallopian tube toward the uterus, it is already dividing into more and more cells. It may look simple under a microscope, but a sophisticated biological plan is already unfolding. Several days later, the tiny cluster of cells reaches the uterus. And this is where everything changes, because survival now depends on finding a permanent home. Imagine a traveler arriving in an unfamiliar land and needing shelter before a storm arrives. The embryo faces a similar challenge. It must successfully attach itself to the lining of the uterus. This process is known as implantation. Once contact is made, specialized outer cells begin an extraordinary task. Rather than simply resting on the surface, they actively work their way into the uterine lining. These cells become the foundation of something much larger, the future placenta. And what happens next is one of the most overlooked events in human development. As these cells settle deeper into the uterine tissue, they begin producing a hormone called HCG. Many people recognize HCG because home pregnancy tests are designed to detect it. But its role goes far beyond confirming pregnancy. This hormone sends an important message throughout the mother's body. In simple terms, it tells the body that a pregnancy has begun and that support systems must remain active. Without this early communication, the pregnancy may not continue normally. It's also one reason why many women begin noticing some of the earliest pregnancy symptoms. Feelings of nausea, fatigue, or changes in appetite may appear as hormone levels rise. For many families, these subtle changes become the first clues that a new life is growing. Now, imagine a woman named Margaret. She's in her early 60s, sitting in her living room, holding her newborn granddaughter. As she watches the baby sleep, it's easy to focus on the tiny face and delicate hands. What most people never see is the incredible biological teamwork that made that moment possible. Because while the baby was developing, another structure was growing right alongside her, the placenta. And the placenta may be one of the most fascinating organs ever created. Unlike the heart, liver, or kidneys, it exists only during pregnancy. It forms specifically to connect mother and baby. Over the following weeks, an intricate network of blood vessels develops. The placenta becomes a busy exchange center. Oxygen moves toward the baby. Carbon dioxide moves away. Nutrients are delivered. Waste products are removed. It's a continuous process happening every minute of every day. What's remarkable is that the mother's blood and the baby's blood generally do not mix directly. Instead, the placenta acts as a highly specialized interface, allowing vital substances to pass while maintaining separation between the two circulatory systems. Most people completely overlook this part. The placenta isn't simply delivering food, it's constantly monitoring, regulating, and adapting to the baby's changing needs. As the fetus grows larger, the demands increase dramatically. The placenta responds by expanding its capacity. It's almost like a living supply network upgrading itself while still operating around the clock. But the biggest surprise came later. Researchers discovered that the placenta is also a powerful hormone-producing organ. As pregnancy progresses, it takes over much of the hormonal support needed to maintain a healthy environment inside the uterus. These hormones help support fetal growth, prepare the mother's body for childbirth, and even contribute to changes in metabolism and breast development. Every stage is carefully coordinated. Every change serves a purpose. And then comes the period that many parents remember most vividly, the months when movement begins. At first, the baby is tiny and fragile, but week after week, development accelerates. The heart beats. The nervous system becomes more sophisticated. Bones strengthen. Facial features become recognizable. Tiny kicks eventually become powerful stretches and turns. For many families, feeling those first movements creates an emotional connection unlike anything else. It's no longer just an idea. It's a growing person. And throughout it all, the placenta continues working quietly in the background, day and night, week after week, month after month, until eventually a new challenge appears: birth. The uterus has spent months expanding to accommodate the developing baby. Now it must perform a completely different task. It must help bring that baby into the world. As labor approaches, hormones once again begin coordinating a series of remarkable changes. The cervix gradually softens. The uterus becomes increasingly responsive. Muscles that have spent months stretching prepare for powerful contractions. And then labor begins. For some women, it starts gradually. For others, it seems to happen suddenly. But regardless of how it begins, labor represents the final chapter of a process that started many months earlier with a single fertilized cell. Each contraction helps guide the baby closer to birth. The uterus works rhythmically, applying pressure while the cervix continues opening. Hours may pass, sometimes longer, yet every stage serves a purpose. Then comes the moment families wait for: a first cry, a first breath. A first glimpse of a face that has existed only in imagination until now. It's one of the most emotional moments in human experience. But the story isn't quite finished, because shortly after delivery, the placenta completes its final task. Having supported life throughout pregnancy, it is delivered as well. Its work is done. The organ that sustained growth, supplied oxygen, delivered nutrients, produced hormones, and protected development is no longer needed. In many ways, the placenta is one of nature's most selfless creations. It appears when needed, performs an astonishing number of functions, then quietly exits the stage. The more scientists learn about pregnancy and fetal development, the more appreciation they gain for the complexity of these processes. From implantation to delivery, countless biological events must occur in careful coordination. And yet, for millions of families throughout history, this extraordinary journey unfolds every day. If you've made it this far, tell me in the comments. Have you ever witnessed the birth of a child, grandchild, or loved one? Those stories are often some of the most meaningful memories people carry throughout their lives. And if you enjoyed learning about the incredible science behind human development, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who appreciates the wonders of the human body. One final note before we go. This video is intended for educational purposes only. Anyone with questions about pregnancy, childbirth, or medical concerns should always consult qualified healthcare professionals for personalized guidance. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And remember, every human life begins with a story so small it cannot be seen, yet powerful enough to change the world forever.